Director of the Illinois Coalition to Abolish the Death Penalty. We want to thank you for being here. We're here right now, right before the legislator gets back to work, to talk to you about an issue that will move out of the shadows, ending the death penalty. We've worked hard these last few months to build unprecedented momentum, and we're standing here today to tell you we're ready to get this over the finish line in these next couple weeks. I'm joined here today by Randy Steidle, Illinois' 18th exoneree, as well as Jennifer Bishop Jenkins, a murder victim family from here in Illinois. We're also joined by Ray Crone, who's an exoneree from Arizona. And finally, we're joined by Bob Gilligan, who's the executive director of the Catholic Conference of Illinois. Our message is simple. The death penalty has not worked for Illinois. It cannot be fixed. It is broken beyond repair. And we think it's time to take that next step. Understand that the moratorium is not the answer, and to take it off the books for good. Only then can we really move Illinois forward and get serious about reforming our criminal justice system that we all can agree is long overdue. Our case for ending the death penalty really comes down to two issues: cost and innocence. We spend about $20 million a year for a system that has no outcome. We put victims' families through unending pain and chaos with no positive result. And worst of all, we continue to send men to death row wrongly, putting innocent lives on the line for no reason. For competent lawmakers, I've heard our message as we've been meeting with them and working in their districts for the last year. More and more of them realize what we're doing isn't working and can't work. We've tried reforms. We've spent millions of dollars. We've put safeguards in place, but we can never have a foolproof system. The costs are too great. The risks are too high. Let's end the death penalty now and get to work on what's right for Illinois. Illinois knows what it's like to be without the death penalty. We've done it for a whole decade now. And if we take this next step, we can build on this progress and set out on an even better path for fighting crime and keeping our community safe. This is the right move at the right time for the right reasons. It is time for our state government to do something right. We hope legislators will agree with us and stand with us. Thank you very much.
My name is Randy Steidle. I spent over 17 years in prison, 12 on death row for a downstate Paris, Illinois murder that I did not commit. I'm here today to plead with the people of the state of Illinois that we have spent millions and millions of dollars with study commissions and 10 years of a moratorium that was trying to reform a system that cannot be reformed. This money could be better spent with the murder victims' family members, through better law enforcement. We have an alternative to the death penalty in this state, and it's life without parole, and you do not risk the possibility of executing an innocent person. Behind me stands members of Witness to Innocence. These 20 individuals have had a combined total of over 200 years of sitting on death row across this country. Illinois has had 20 innocent people. I was number 18. My case was deemed too politically sensitive in 2000 by the Illinois State Police, making me lose all of my state appeals and thwarted any review or investigation in order to free me and my co-defendant Herb Whitlock from a life without parole sentence. How many more cases across this country are too politically sensitive because of power, money, and influence? These are human lives we're talking about here today. The death penalty in this state needs to die, and die for good. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Jennifer Bishop Jenkins, and I'm a murder victim's family member. This is my sister Nancy Bishop Langert, her husband Richard, and their unborn child. They were murdered in Winnetka in 1990. I'm also here with my sister Jean Bishop and my dear friend Gail Rice, whose brother was a Denver police officer murdered in the line of duty. And we're all members of Murder Victims Families for Human Rights, which is an organization of murder victims family members that opposes the death penalty because we know that the death penalty does not serve victims' families. Ever since my sister was killed, her dying words were to draw a heart and a U in her own blood, to say as she was dying that she loved us. And because her last words were words of love, oh, and I just noticed another victim's family member in the room, I apologize, Sarita Villarreal, whose brother was murdered, my dear friend Sarita. So thank you for being here too. And we were motivated in our family, after Nancy and Richard were killed, to work to honor her dying words of love. Because that's what victims' families need to do, to memorialize those that were murdered and to focus on healing and helping other victims like us, which is what my sister and I devoted our lives to doing in the years following Nancy and Richard's murder. And we've been working to help other victims of crime, and that's what we should all focus on, the whole state should focus on. We started IllinoisVictims.org. I've been on the advisory to the U.S. Sentencing Commission. I have been an advisor to the Victims' Rights Caucus. And I was appointed by the governor in 2008 to the Capital Punishment Reform Study Committee, which has released its final report. And the one thing that I can tell you after years of study on that body is that the death penalty definitely in Illinois has not been fixed. And there's a very detailed study out now that does show that. So I think that's a very important part to our effort. I can also tell you that working in that body that Burkett and Devine, two very prominent prosecutors in the state, have said that it's about as fixed as it's going to get. So it's really important for us to recognize that the flaws cannot be fixed and just to abolish it. The death penalty hurts victims. It does not give us the resources we need. It drains financial resources. I recently ran for Cook County Board because the Cook County programs to help murder victims' family members were cut in the wake of dramatic cost issues. So there's a lot we can do to help victims. We need to understand that to tell a victim that we have to have a death penalty for the worst of the worst actually insults all murder victims' family members, because that rationale says that, well, some murders are more impactful than others on their families. No, that's not the case. So we stand strongly for life without parole for the worst of the worst offenders, if there is such a thing. And we support strongly that we turn the resources and the focus of this state from the focus on this wasteful and flawed process and start standing with victims and law enforcement to focus on prevention and support. And thank you very much to all of you, and especially to all of you, for being here today.
Hi, my name's Ray Crone. I too am a death row survivor. It's a great honor and privilege to be here in the state of Illinois, that a place that has been studying this issue, reviewing this issue, appointed commissions on this issue, acted on this issue for many years now. And it's even more of an honor for me to be a voice. You'll hear my voice. What you won't hear is those other voices, those other men and women that are on death row, other men and women whose families, loved ones were on death row. Because see, we know what it was like to be in that darkness when the justice system failed us, where our court-appointed attorneys, public defenders failed us, and we were sentenced to death. We know that darkness is sitting in that jail cell waiting for them to execute us, seeing them execute our neighbors, our cellmates. And we were fortunate to come to that light, to see that light that day that our cell door was open and we regained our freedom, proving our innocence. It was a battle. We also were aware of that darkness that overcome our family when that death sentence was handed down to their loved one. That darkness that permeated their lives for so many years while we sat in death row wondering, were they going to kill us? And that light that finally came to our families the day that we were released and they found their loved ones finally coming home to them. And we're aware from the media that darkness enveloped the state of Illinois for so many years when the governor found out that they had freed more people from their death row than they had executed. And the light that came to him when he realized, I have to do something about it. We have to act. This is not right. And the changes that came about.